Hello, grammar and writing students, and welcome to our last video of the year. Today we are doing subordinating conjunctions, and it should be a fairly short and sweet presentation, but it is something that I did want to pass along to you just so that you know when you see. In our gray box, we have the definition of a subordinating conjunction, and it simply is that it joins a dependent adverb clause, remember dependent can't stand by itself, to an independent main clause. So in this situation, we have a dependent clause and we have an independent main clause. You have to have both. Second, when an adverb clause introduces a sentence, it is separated from the main clause by a comma. Thirdly, when the conjunction as or than introduces an adverb clause of comparison, the clause is often shortened and may be hard to recognize. We probably won't spend a whole lot of time on that. And then the preposition like must not be used for the conjunction as or as if in formal English. Again, we won't spend a whole lot of time on this. I'm mainly just introducing you to the subordinating conjunctions. So here's a list of those common ones. I am pretty sure this is not an exhaustive list, but a pretty good list of words that you can see. Now you'll notice that some of them are also prepositional, could be in prepositional phrases. So you'll have to be careful in figuring out whether it's a prepositional phrase or a clause. In a prepositional phrase, the phrase is going to end with a noun. That's usually the giveaway. Whereas in a clause, for example, a clause with after in it, after the night sky had darkened, you have sky darkened. That's your subject verb. It didn't end with a noun. So you'll have to pay attention to that. Does my prepositional or does my phrase clause end with a noun? If so, then it's the prepositional phrase. So take a look at these. Some of them are common clausal openers, and some of them are prepositions that you've seen before. So you just have to be aware. You have to look at the whole group of words. Don't just try to guess, but look at the whole group of words and actually evaluate it. So the easiest way to take a look at these is actually to look at them in diagrams. So I have a few diagrams set up, and we're going to look at them and see how to diagram them. And so let's take a look at the first one. So we love him because he loved us, or because he first loved us. Because he first loved us is the dependent, because it has because there. It's a dependent clause, but it is connecting the two. So you'll see the main clause, we love him, that can stand alone. Because he loved us cannot stand alone. And the because is going to go on the dotted line, connecting, they connected at the two verbs. So most of the time, they're going to go right there. A lot of your connecting words are going to go on the line, with the exception of the who, which clause, where you're likely going to see the who or which in the subject spot. Okay, so let's look at another one. We should be kind to others even though they have mistreated us. So we should be kind to others, obviously, is the independent. It can stand alone. Even though they have mistreated us, that's one of those comparisons that they were talking about earlier. Even though, because it's added into that group of words, it makes it dependent. Now we could say we should be kind to others, period. That's a full sentence. We could also say they have mistreated us, and that's a full sentence. But because we added in this comparison thing, even though they have mistreated us, becomes a dependent clause. So here you see your main clause is in the top. This is probably the hardest thing that you guys have trying to figure out, is which one's going to be the main clause on top and the dependent clause on the bottom. So hopefully you'll get better at that. If you're in 7th grade, you'll get better at that in 8th grade. So here we go. We should be kind to others is the prepositional phrase. Here's your connecting with the word on it. Now, I generally tell students, if you are unsure if anything should go on the connecting, put it on the connecting. A lot of times the words go on the connecting. So I would just, as a default, do that. And then they have mistreated us. Us is the direct object in this case. Who or what? They mistreated who or what? Us. Okay, let's look at the next one. The work went much better after we took a cheerful attitude about it. So the work went much better. There is your main clause. Work went better, and then much goes under better because it's actually modifying better. Then here's the connecting. After goes on the connecting. They're showing you different ways that you can draw those lines. You can draw a straight line down. You can draw like a squiggly. You could probably draw something curved that, however you can get it all on the paper, I think is the point. Then we took attitude, and then about it, and then your other modifiers. Okay, I think we have one more. All right. The job was finished more quickly than we had expected. So the job was finished more quickly. And then we have the word than we had expected. So let's find our clauses. Job was finished quickly. More is modifying quickly. So that's why this gets dropped down. And then the word than. And again, they put the word on the dotted line. If in doubt, put it on the dotted line. Who and which are not going to go on the dotted line most of the time. So most of the other words will. We had expected then finishes out that clause. So if you take a picture of this, write them on an index card, you've got these words there to help you as you are looking at the clauses in your homework. And finish that up and bring it on Wednesday, and we will be finished for the year. So I am going to sign off for the last time, and I will see you next week.